Hey everybody, what's going on here? Back again with another football video, and this topic has actually been circulating in my head for around a while, and I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while now, and I'm probably going to start this new series on my channel called Football Debates, or however you want to call it here. And basically what I'll be doing is kind of like doing my initial thoughts and analysis on like some teams, some crazy moments in football history, because being a football fan, I've witnessed some of the craziest moments in football history, whether it was the World Cup, the Euros, or the Champions League. But one topic that really stands out to me is whether or not the Netherlands football team is cursed. Yes, that's right, because as you people know, the term sports-related curse is something that us Americans here used to describe a team. For example, if they had gone for like multiple decades or like even 100 years without winning a championship, no matter how much talent they had, that's basically the term that us Americans used to describe a team that has never ever won a championship, that has been around for a very long time, and they failed to win a title no matter how much talent, they had on the ball and all that stuff. For example, I'm going to use baseball here as an analogy. For example, you look at the Chicago Cubs. It took them exactly 100 years, to win a World Series title. Yeah, well, it took them, like, I think 116 years to be more exact, because as you people know, for a long time, the Chicago Cubs were believed to be cursed, because from 1906 all the way up until 2016, the Chicago Cubs failed to win a World Series title. And then, in 2016, when the Cubs finally won that World Series, it seemed like that, that the curse of Billy Goat has ended. That's basically the name of the curse given to the Chicago Cubs back in, like, what was it, 1946 or something? I can't exactly remember. But, a lot of people were believed the curse to be real. Same with the Boston Red Sox when they failed to win the World Series from 1918 all the way up until 2004, in which was coined the curse of the Bambino. Now, when I look at the Netherlands football team, I always ask myself, is the Netherlands football team cursed, or did they just basically just driven with bad luck? Because as you people know, one of the most depressing stats in football history is, the Netherlands football team holding the most record for World Cup final appearances without ever winning one. Because as you people know, the Netherlands football team had made it to the World Cup final in 1974, 1978, and in 2010, where they failed to, be able to win a trophy and all that stuff. And, after they lost their third World Cup final to Spain in 2010, I started getting this thought in my head about whether or not the Dutch football team is just flat out cursed, or whether they are just driven with bad luck, because it seems like that the Netherlands, no matter how much talent they had on both sides of the ball, whether it was their front attack, their goalkeeping, their midfield, or their back four, they simply have always failed to win a World Cup trophy. They just could never get it done. And I thought I would do a deep dive into it here, because, in 1974, which in my opinion is possibly the greatest team to never win the World Cup. Well, there's also the 1954 Hungarian team and all that stuff. But, looking at the 1974 Netherlands team, they in my opinion boasted the most talented football team in World Cup history. I think that the 1974 would have to be the most talented one, because we're talking about Johan Cruyff and all these football players in their primes of their careers, who I think would have been worth at least probably I have to say probably at least 200 million today in terms of transfer standards. Like, those players today, if they were playing today, they would have at least been worth 150 to 200 million in the way how I see it. And in that final, the Netherlands, they were up 1-0 against West Germany at that time. And West Germany also had a really good team. Arguably the greatest back four in World Cup history would probably have to be 1974 West Germany. I mean, we're talking about Franz Beckenbauer in his prime, who else did you have right there? You had Paul Breitner as well. Well, was he a defender? I think it was a midfielder. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Paul Breitner was a midfielder. If I'm mistaken here, just let me know in the comment section below. But obviously, the West Germany at that time, they had a really good back four, and that back four single-handedly, was the reason why the Netherlands could never get anything going in that game, despite leading 1-0 against West Germany. And then, of course, in the 43rd minute, Gerd Muller, he scored an incredible goal right there, a tap-in to help West Germany get a 2-1 lead, and then they just basically held on to the lead. So the Netherlands lost that final right there. But then, in 1978, they made it to another World Cup final in Argentina, but unfortunately, they were without Johan Cruyff, who retired from the Netherlands football team. I think it was at the age of 29 or 30, if I remember. And, in that final, Argentina, they struck first, but then the Netherlands, they came back. And it looked like that the Netherlands came so close to winning that 1978 World Cup final because one key thing about that match right there was when one of the Dutch players, their shot, it hit the post, and had it gone in and given them a 2-1 lead, the Netherlands likely would have won a World Cup right there in Argentina. So that's how close the Netherlands came to winning a World Cup final in Argentina, because it looked like that the momentum was going to be on their side when they equalized right there. But it's just, if only the ball had gone in, if only it hadn't hit the post, then, hey, that's how close they really came to winning a World Cup title for the next from 1978 all the way until 2010. So that's basically 32 years, And then you also have the 1998 the Dutch team, which was really talented too, but unfortunately they couldn't make it to a World Cup final because they lost to Brazil on penalties 4-2 in the semis. But I think that just goes to show you that no matter how much talent the Dutch had, they just can never seem to get it done right here. And the thing about that 1978 World Cup final is that, after the game went to extra time, Argentina just dominated that game and they defeated the Netherlands 3-1. But then, in 2010, the Netherlands, they also once again boasted another very talented squad that had the likes of Prime Robben, Prime Van Persie, Prime Snyder. You also had Giovanni van Bronckhorst. You also had, who else? Kout, if I remember, and you also had, you had Stecklenburg as well. And then you also had, I think Nigel de Jong right there. Yeah, you also had Nigel de Jong. So that Dutch team was pretty talented too in 2010. But unfortunately, they once again in that World Cup final against Spain. The best highlight of that game for the Dutch came when Robben had a chance one-on-one with Casillas. And to this day, I still don't get how Robben just didn't go around Casillas and, just slot the ball inside the net. Because if Robben had done that, I think that the Netherlands would have definitely won the World Cup right there in South Africa. But Iker Casillas was just on a whole nother level in that game. I mean, he was just absolutely balling out, just having all these crazy saves. Prime Iker Casillas, he was something really special. But that's a whole nother topic. But going back to the final, so yeah, Robben, he had a shot denied twice by Casillas. And then, Iniesta, he scored that goal in the 116 minutes to help Spain win the final against the Netherlands. But I thought for a second in that final right there that, that the game was going to go to penalties, because I can only imagine what the outcome of that final would have been like had it gone to pen. So right there. And then in 2014, that was the last time the Netherlands were a really good team. They actually still had a very good squad in Brazil, but I think their 2010 squad was better compared to their 2014 one. But still, in that World Cup right there, Robben was something special. I think that he was the best player for the Netherlands in that tournament, without a doubt. Once again, Robben putting on masterclass performances in games and all that stuff. But then, you go to the Argentina game in the semifinals, Netherlands, they were a penalty shootout away from making it to their fourth World Cup final, but unfortunately they couldn't get done against Argentina on penalties and they lost. Because I still remember watching that game, I still remember that game, when Argentina stepped up to take the game-winning penalty, and it looked like that Silesen will save that penalty right there from the Argentine player. I forgot who it was that scored that. But it looked like he saved that, but then the ball just deflected into the nets because, Silesen, he got the penalty stop, right? Well, not exactly, because he raised his hands up, but the ball just deflected into the net. And that basically ended the Netherlands' hopes of, making it to another World Cup final. And since then, it seems like they haven't been the same team at all, even though, they've been kind of experiencing a rise recently in football. The question is, are they truly back to their good form, or is this just like a temporary thing, because, you just have to look at their results. At the Euros, they were an okay team in my opinion, but against the Czech Republic, they absolutely just, I feel like, underperformed completely. So that's the question right there. Do you think that the Netherlands football team is cursed or no? Because, no matter just how much talent the Netherlands had, they just can never, ever seem to catch a big break, and that is, winning a World Cup. Well, granted, they did win the Euros in 1988, but nothing feels good than winning a FIFA World Cup. Yes, that's right. And I think that kind of asks the question here is that, are the Netherlands just experiencing bad luck, or, what's preventing them from winning a World Cup, trophy? Is it because, of their mentality in big games, or is it because they just have bad luck? Because there's no other way to describe how come the Netherlands have never, won a World Cup before, no matter how much talent they had in their history, But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Netherlands win another World Cup, or if they win another Euro trophy. So, this is, in my opinion, the biggest football debate that's been circling my head for the past, I have to say, I guess about 15 years from the time I watched that 2010 World Cup final, you know, when the Netherlands lost to Spain and all that stuff. But hey, we'll see what happens, man. Only time will tell. But let me know, what do you people think about this in the comment section below, because I think I pretty much covered everything here in this video here, you know. But obviously, you know, given the Chicago Cubs and the Boston Red Sox World Series victories, they've proven that even if if a sports team is believed to be cursed, curses can be broken. So do you think the Netherlands will ever break that supposed curse, or no? I'd love to hear your responses in the comment section below. So make sure you guys drop a like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for another video. Peace.